April 2023. I appreciate everybody joining us here, whether you're a member, whether you're a free member or a premium member. Thank you so much for joining us, and let's get started tonight. So now we have several of the National Inventor Club members that are going to be coming on. I thought there might be a few more that we invited that they were going to join us, but so far we have Janet Gongola. She's from the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office. We have Karina Wood, and Peter Nicastro. We had a chance last week to experience the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office in Alexandria, Virginia. Premium members of National Inventor Club were invited. It was a great event. Why don't you share your experiences, and why don't you maybe give some advice to the inventor community? Peter, you want to start off?
Sure. Thank you again for having me, Brian. Yeah, it was great to see where exactly the USPTO did their business. Big building. It was very interesting. One of the most interesting things I learned was about plant patents. That was definitely something new to me personally. And it was super interesting to see what it took to obtain a plant patent. It was also great to meet you, Brian, as well as all the other members of the club and the judges. It was very interesting, and I love just being in that environment.
Great. Thank you so much, Peter. And I have to say, just being around all of you, and we all had a chance to meet on Friday, but even the night before, we had many people that were joining us from the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office. We had dinner, we had drinks. It was a great experience. And I also wanted to take a moment. I had a chance to get a lot of gifts from people. I wanted to share Diane Perlmutter. Her book is called Glimpse of Happiness. I just wanted to give her a shout out. She dedicated this book to her father, all different types of quotes and things that he said. She kind of wrapped up into this book, so that was amazing. And I also wanted to thank Chris Foley. Chris Foley. Well, I want to thank everybody. I don't know how much I could put this on the screen, but we had a sign-in board, and everybody put their signatures and some nice advice on there and some nice kind words, and we ended up and Chris Foley actually brought it framed, so I appreciate that. Karina, why don't you share your experience and maybe some words of wisdom for the inventor community?
Yeah, I would love to. First of all, Brian, thank you very much. You and Samantha did an incredible job coordinating the event. And I honestly did not have a clue what to expect. Little did I know, and I'm confident I can say as a collective, we were blown away by the red carpet rollout that was given to us, the tour of the building. More than anything, the takeaway is that USPTO, the PTAB, the examiners, they are there to help us. They are there for us. They're there to protect us, to guide us, and they're literally a phone call away. So I was really, really surprised because the website can be a little bit intimidating, but we were enlightened for sure. So thank you very much.
Thank you. And Janet, amazing day that you set up for us, you and your colleagues. And Samantha from National Inventor Club, she was instrumental in helping me to get everybody coordinated and bring about 30 of us to the Alexandria, Virginia headquarters of U.S. Patent and Trademark Office. Janet, thank you again. You put so much together. We had a tour of the patent office. We got to meet some of the other judges from the pro bono program and the PTAB program, which you can explain, but really very well done. You kept us busy all day. Thank you so much, Janet.
Thank you, Brian, and thank you to all of the members of the National Inventor Club who made the effort, took the time, incurred expense to be there. It was an absolute honor and privilege to meet all of you. We don't always have the opportunity to have that one-on-one dialogue with inventors, understand the process that you go through to create an invention, to pursue protection patent trademark protection for your invention. So hearing your stories was a complete inspiration. It makes what we do real and brings it home to us. We had such a good experience. And I hope you don't mind, but we were so thrilled to have you. I put together a few little pictures from the visit so that you could all see how much fun we had in Pastor Brian so that he will set up a return visit so that all of you can have the chance to come again, or for those who didn't, so that you may have the opportunity next time to visit us. So you're seeing some photo footage of those who attended. I hope that many of you are on the call and you're saying cheese right now as you see your own photos. But as Brian alluded to, we had a variety of activities that we wanted to do with you throughout the day. And I won't read them to you, but you can see them listed on the screen. Probably my favorite activity was the scavenger hunt that you all did in the National Inventors Hall of Fame Museum. You had the chance to work in teams named after inventors Edison, Abraham Lincoln, and compete against each other to give a self-guided tour of the museum, buy some neat things at the museum store, and work as teams and get to know each other to accomplish your goal. I see some really nice selfie shots and individual shots on this screen, and our leader of your organization right there with one of the members taking a photo. These are more of the shots taken on the tour. We went around the agency and saw many different sites, from examiner training facilities to our library facilities to the director's office of the agency. Here is a shot of all of us together. This photo was taken in the public search facility, which is available to all inventors to come and utilize to conduct patent and trademark searching. So I think we're quite a handsome group. I hope you will agree with that assessment. And then finally for me, this picture captures what it really is all about. We had a family join us from Alabama. They're shown in the bottom picture. And they brought their 14-year-old son with him. For me, the experience was about him. They are our future, and I think we have an obligation to build up the next generation. So by giving their son this chance to visit the patent office, I think we're creating inventors at a very young age and instilling the importance of being inventive, contributing to the invention ecosystem. So I really just love that picture and wanted to share it all with you. And then
That's Mariko. That's Mariko Simpson from Foremost Grooming. That's his son that came, and he definitely enjoyed it, and we enjoyed having him. Future inventor.
then we have to give you some feedback to let you all know what your inventor colleagues thought of the visit. So in their literal own handwriting, we asked a question about, at the very end, did you enjoy the visit? And apart from Peter and Karina's comments here tonight, you can see some of the sticky notes of inventors who attended and what they had to say about the event. And so until we see you next time, I wrap up. Those are a few of our judges saying hello, saying goodbye to all of you. And we sincerely hope that you will, as Karina suggested, reach out to us whenever you have a question, whenever you need help. We are here for you. We want to help you. We want to build the relationship with you. And we're just real pleased that we had this opportunity. So thank you all again.
Thank you so much, Janet. Thank you. That was a day. I see also several of our NIC premium members and members that came with us. Evelyn Wilson, thank you so much. Chris Foley, we're going to see you a little bit later. Just thank you. And we had two more late visitors here. We have Ryan and Sean. We're just about wrapping up this session, but if you can just share quickly your experience at National Inventor Club, the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office visit.
Yes, I'll go.
You both unmute.
Hi, everyone.
Okay.
Can y'all hear me? Hi,
Yeah,
Janet.
we hear
Good
you.
seeing you again. The experience was just awesome. From the moment I walked in the door to the right, you guys had the Invention Hall of Fame, and I was in awe from the moment I stepped in the door. When I first got my idea, I knew that I wanted a patent, but to be there literally at the office and see all the moving parts and how everyone works and how everything goes from an inside view was very, very exciting. I really enjoyed everyone and the networking. The dinner that we had the night before was awesome. I enjoyed everyone's company, all the pictures, all the laughter. It was just an awesome time. And thank you guys. And it was very informative.
Thank you, Sean. Thank you very much. And Ryan?
Yes, last but not least, thank you so much, Brian, for coordinating the event at the USPTO and for all the folks at the USPTO. The experience was awesome. You know, as inventors, we typically work in silos, right? But having the experience of going there, meeting the folks behind the scenes that make it all happen is like, you know, parting the windows or the curtains just to see how the inner workings of the USPTO unfolds. And just to have that experience, you know, the scavenger hunt was really amazing. Learning, getting the tour and learning about the invention process, not just what your inventor's process is, but what everyone else works on, and learning about the plant patents, just learning about the history of the U.S. Patent Office. That was an amazing experience. If you do get the opportunity to go, I would highly encourage you to do so, simply because it just makes it all so much real and that much more special.
Thank you so much, Ryan. Thank you all. Appreciate it. We have a busy night tonight. We'd love to hear more. We might continue this next time, and we have a promo video coming, so we'll keep in touch. Thank you all again. Very much appreciated. Janet, thank you to you and your team. We'll do this again for sure. Thank you. Okay, let's get Donna on our screen. Here we go. Donna Griffith.
Brian Creed. Hello.
Sticking to my story. I've gotten a chance to know Donna and learn about Donna over the last couple months, especially when her new book just came out recently. And she sent me a copy, and I've gotten a chance to dig in. Very interesting, great resources of knowledge for sure, and getting yourself ready to get that pitch out. Whether it's yourself, your product, your business, Donna has the solution. And what we did also is take two of the National Inventor Club members. They are in the green room, and they're waiting to kind of have Donna take their pitches, put it in a blender, turn it on high, and then come out with something hopefully better. And I'm pretty confident Donna will do that. But Donna, why don't you introduce yourself for us? Tell us who you are and what you're about and what we're going to learn tonight.
So Blender is an interesting thing. I'll one up. It's the GPT. Donna GPT. Nice to meet you. If you're not living in a cave in the past 6 months, then you've probably heard of ChatGPT. If you haven't, please check it out. OpenAI has created this incredible tool, which is basically what Google was to us when search first came out and became like real. This will be to our kids. It's incredible. You can basically ask any question in your own natural language and get it, and it right away spits out the answer. And that's what I've been doing for 20 years. So I am a corporate storyteller and a pitch alchemist, which basically means that I help people not be boring, tell powerful stories and messages to achieve results, whether it's raising funding, getting a patent, selling, partnering, wherever you need to persuade people to be with you in your goals is where storytelling can truly help.
Look, Donna, we can have the greatest product, we can have a great business. We want to tell everything about ourselves, but if we can't get the words out and we have marbles in our mouth, it's going to be very difficult, and you could lose your only shot or future shots. And if you're going to do it, why not get it right? And we're lucky to have you here with us tonight.
Yeah.
I know that we have a presentation here, which I'll add here to kind of guide us through some of our talking points. So Donna, why don't we get to it? I think some of us are asking about the book. So the name of the book is called Sticking to My Story. When did it come out, Donna?
Came out in February, so it's still very new. And the audio book actually came out 2 weeks ago, which I narrated, which was lots of fun. I'm a former, as well, I remember a former, but I'm an actress and a voiceover artist as well. So it was so fun to get back behind the microphone and just tell my own story. It was really exciting.
Very nice. So why don't we get started, Donna? Help us out.
Yeah.
We need to pitch ourselves. We have that one shot. Set us up and prepare us for our future.
Terrific. So first of all, I just want to touch on one thing you said, Brian. You said we need to pitch ourselves and our idea. And I want to let you all in a little secret. It's really not about us. That's the key to everything. It's about the people on the receiving end. And we're going to talk about that tonight. But first, I'd like to start off with a story, because if you're going to talk about storytelling, you might as well model it. And this has come to known as the souvlaki story, and it's in my book as well. So if any of you have read it, it'll sound familiar. So back in 2010, I met a wonderful company called Eat With. I don't know if anybody has experienced an Eat With, but it's amazing. It's basically you could go to someone's house and it's set up like a restaurant. Like 10 people come to a little mama's kitchen in Italy and enjoy a local meal. Now, when I met the founders, they were at their very early stages. They went on to actually sell their company in 2017. And we were working on their early pitch. And something wasn't like, as exciting as it seemed to me. And I said, can you tell me where you came up with this idea? And one of the founders' eyes lit up. He said, it was on my honeymoon. We were on a Greek island and we were looking for an authentic local experience. And all we could see for miles around were signs saying, souvlaki, right? Souvlaki, souvlaki, souvlaki. I just got back from Spain a few weeks ago, and there it was the same for paella, paella, paella. And they couldn't find anything. They felt, kind of duped. And finally, they stopped this little old woman walking with baskets from the market and said, excuse me, ma'am, where do the locals eat? She looked at them kind of funny. She's like, well, what do you mean, where do we eat? We eat at home. And he said, well, how do I get a reservation to that restaurant? And she said, oh, you want to come for dinner? And he's like, no. And she's like, oh, no, come for dinner. You should totally come for dinner. And they were a little bit sheepish, but they took the address down, showed up that night. He said it was the highlight of their entire trip. A table with just gorgeous food, delicious, scintillating conversation, endless ouzo. He said, this is the way traveling should be. And that was the way that Eat With started. Now, I want to let you in a little secret, Brian. I haven't told many people this yet, but a few weeks ago, I had a big article written about me in a business journal. And the journalist had reached out to me. She said, I read your book and I really loved it. And I want to write an article. And then as she was doing the research, she said, but Eat With, they actually told their story a little bit different. And I said, what do you mean? She said, well, they said it wasn't a little old woman. Rather, it was a friend of a friend who hooked them up. And I had like this moment. I'm like, oh my God, am I going crazy? Like, this is the story I've been telling for 13 years now. And the founder actually sent me an email when the article came out. And he said, thanks for the mention. Congratulations on the book. And I said, okay, you got to tell me, is it my version or your version? And that's where we're going to stop. Okay. And let me ask you, Brian, do you think it matters? Would it matter to you if it was a little old woman or a friend of a friend of a friend?
We definitely all have very good imaginations here, Donna.
Great. So it's really about the imagination, and it's really about what sticks and stories stick. So little details like that are not what we want to get bogged down by. And I know with a lot of your inventors, and I can see it, they're very technical, very scientific, very detail oriented. And I want to give you kind of a pass at that and bring you into this much broader picture of storytelling. So looking at this picture, these are my two girls. They weren't two at the same time, thankfully. But this was when they were two. They're now about to turn 10 and about to turn 7. And they'd like gather books and read when they were 2. This should have been like a foreshadowing of the future. Kids learn language through stories. That's what gets us going. And that's what kind of engages us and how we learn the world. And then we want to hear the same stories again and again and again. And our neural pathways get paved through these stories, and then we go and clog them up with jargon and technobabble. And it's such a shame because we really miss out on the beauty of the primal way that we tell stories. Speaking of primal, you know, Brian, the last time we got an upgrade of the hardware in our brain, 36,000 years ago, the prefrontal cortex emerged. And that was the last time we actually had a brain upgrade that wasn't software. And that was about the same time that we started seeing cave paintings. So people were finally able to tell their story before they even had language through images that were passed down from generation to generation. And Yuval Noah Harari, who wrote *Sapiens*, said that that's actually the reason that we outlasted the Neanderthals, our ability to tell stories. Stories are universal. Every single religion, culture, people around the world, country, all tell stories. And it's a great equalizer. And it's also a great connector. So listening to all the little pitches that were going on and the stories and how beautifully Janet kind of brought up the presentation, and she told a story. She didn't just rattle off facts about what your visit had been. It almost felt like we were there visiting with her. And that awakens in us this, oh yeah, well, that reminds me of the time that I did a scavenger hunt, and that one reminded me of the time. So what we're doing is we're forging connections. And you know, Brian, sometimes you just meet someone and you're like, oh, we were so on the same wavelength. Chances are you might have actually been on the same wavelength, because studies have measured the brain waves of someone telling a story and someone listening to a story, and they actually sync up. It's such a powerful moment that people get swept into the storytelling and story listening, and that gives us a great moment of influence, which, if we're trying to sell an idea, sell a product, get a patent, get funded, that's exactly what we want. Now, there is a little bit of a dark side to storytelling. And George Costanza said, if you believe it, it's not a lie. So going back to my first example, I remembered a certain version of the story. Another version of the story was telling. Now, this is what we call an inference. This is how memories become our own. Sometimes we hear stories at home and from our grandparents, and they're so alive that they really become ours. But the thing is, that's fine, because we want to create inferences and memories in the people we're speaking to. So as long as we're using storytelling for good purposes, then we're okay with that.
You know what, Donna? Sometimes I feel like people talk and they're not keeping somebody's attention because there's so many distractions out there. So let's say you make a phone call.
Mm-hmm.
Immediately, you need to think about the other side. What is that person doing? Do they have kids pulling on their shirt? Are they in an office? Do you hear noises? Are they a fast talker or a slow talker?
Or a close talker.
Are you a fast talker and they're a slow talker, and you're disconnected? So you want to find that connection, whether it's with your words, but also to connect with them so you can know that they're paying attention. Because these days, you start a conversation, so many distractions.
Yes. And you know what? Many years ago, before social media and smartphones, there was a study that showed that the average adult gets a new thought every 7 seconds.
Wow.
The average goldfish every 8 seconds. Basically, we have a shorter attention span than that of a goldfish. So, and today we have binging and buzzing and blah, blah, blah. So if you want to grab your audience and enthrall them, and I actually gave a workshop speech to a group of 30 VCs this morning, and it's daunting, but I was there. And at some point you're like, you this feeling of like, oh, they're with me. I've got them. We're on that wavelength. Then if you came over afterwards and said, you know, I was enthralled the whole time, I was listening the whole time. And I'm always grateful for that, but I know that it works because you're telling a story that's meaningful to them, not to me, even though I love storytelling. It's about them.
What's in it for them, for sure.
Yeah. So just to continue, Brian, did you play with Lego as a child?
I did.
Yes. Do you have kids or kids of friends
My
that play
daughter's
with Lego?
21, but I probably still have some in her
Probably.
closet up there.
Have you
Yeah.
ever stepped on a piece of Lego in the middle of the night and wanted to like absolutely commit mass murder of the Danish people? It has to come with a warning label. So in an era, and you know, your daughter's older, but like kids today of PlayStations and tablets and all kinds of electronic doodads, how do you explain that Lego is still one of the most popular toys we have? And by the way, anybody out there is welcome to pop in why they think Lego is. We can get some answers. What do you think, Brian?
I think that it's stimulating. It feels you got the kind of, you know, the plugs on top to go to the bottom. You're thinking, you're envisioning what it's going to look like as you're putting it together. The colors are fun. It's for anyone, kids of all ages.
So you absolutely capture the entire answer there. So Lego is a creative expression where structure meets flexibility. You got those little plugs, you gotta keep the structure. Paulette's saying a mind-body relationship. So basically, all of this is true. We can build whatever we want from Lego. We can be as creative as we want to be, but we need to stick to the structure. We can't start bending and breaking and trying to do something weird, which is what enables kids of a very young age and very basic motor skills to already build it. Yes, Chris, you're right. We are engaged. But the Lego set sets us free. And I want to give you guys a little Lego set today. And I talk about this a lot in my book and sticking to my story. And I want to give you, it's funny, when I started writing the book, it was going to be about storytelling in general. And I sat down on the first meeting with my publisher and he said, Donna, you're going to either have a 500-page book or 3 different books here. So we decided to start with startups, but you know, storytelling works for everyone. So I want to touch on storytelling for sales, for persuasion today, the whole shebang. Tip 1 of the day, and I touched on it because you set me up for it in your intro, write from your audience's perspective. It is not about us. It's not about how great we are. It's not about how wonderful our product is or our invention is. It's about them getting it. Now, audience perspective is, have you ever flown back on an international flight and everybody's up kind of putting and the captain's waiting to take off? So this happened to me, that people were milling around. The captain's like, can you please take your seats? Can you please take your seats? We need to. Finally, someone got smart and said, ladies and gentlemen, we are now positioned in the first of the queue to take off. If we don't take off in our 20-minute window, that means that we'll be put to spot 37, which means that you will be 2 hours late landing at San Francisco Airport at 6 o'clock in the morning, along with 4 other flights containing about 200 to 400 people each. Might I suggest you sit down so we could take off on time? Thank you. See? And now they got us, and everybody, you know, applauded, sat their butts down, and the flight took off on time. Because it's really, like you said, we're not thinking about who's on the other side, what they're going through, who wants to be standing at customs at 6 o'clock in the morning for 2 hours.
Yep. You know what, Donna? For us, inventors and startups and business owners, entrepreneurs, whatever we want to call them, that are in the audience this evening, look, we have to be prepared to pitch a potential licensee if we're looking to earn royalties from our product. We just have an idea. We have to be able to have a good conversation with our support, an engineer, a prototype, or a patent attorney or agent, whoever it is. in your journey of building your business or your product, which I consider a business when you're coming up with an idea, and even some inventors out there that are building a product, which we're going to hear from this evening. There's a couple of members in our audience in the back room that you're going to help to kind of take their pitch and make it better. But really, it's about preparing yourself. You're talking to a manufacturer. You're talking to investors to raise money. You're talking to people on a website. You're communicating online. You need to have a better conversation with people, and you only have a short window of time, and you have to catch their attention.
100%. You're absolutely right. So I want to give those that are waiting to pitch a few tips so that it will be helpful for them. So the first thing you want to do when you think about audience perspective is you want to think about their questions. You need to, for a minute, forget everything you know and put yourself in the position of your audience, whether they're a potential licensee or a potential investor or a potential buyer, whatever it is. What do they need to know? Make a list of all the questions and then chunk them into a 4-point agenda. I see the animation doesn't work with StreamYard, and that's fine. I'll just go through this. The principle of chunking was introduced by George Miller in 1958. It basically helped the adult brain learn better. So dividing things into chunks. 4 chunks is a good place. We don't want too much information happening. And I want to show you the 4 chunks of like a sales/persuasion pitch. It could be you selling, it could be you trying to find a licensee. And I talk about this in the book. I call them the 4 acts. I'm a theater person. So to me, it's an act of the play. So we have the need, the solution, the data to back it up, and the vision for the future. Now, this is not 4 slides, Brian, okay? This is 4 buckets of slides. So each slide could be a different question of theirs that you're answering. And then guess what you're doing? You are building trust because little by little, you're chipping away and answering all of their questions. Talk about audience perspective. And it's the same thing for an investor pitch, very similar structure. The content is a little bit different. The focus is a little bit different. I mean, if you're talking to a licensee, you need to show them what's in it for them. If you're talking to an investor, you need to show them how you're going to make boatloads of money. So it's a bit of a different focus, and you always want to change the questions based on your audience. But this kind of gives you your Lego set. It's a good jumping off point. Any comments, questions, anything you
No,
want to add?
it just makes sense. You just break it down into those buckets. And if you just focus on those and get the best that you can out of them, to just keep perfecting it, keep it going, and getting it to a point where you feel good and it sounds natural, right?
Absolutely. So that's exactly what we want to do. Now, I'm missing the animation. There's a nice little thing that comes in, but just so you see these 3 big villains here, these are what moves the action in an action adventure film. Imagine instead of hearing, Luke, I am your father, you would hear something like, come to Papa, my boy. Or instead of a, hello, Clarice, you heard something like, how you doing? Or instead of Jaws, we had a Nemo. The villain wouldn't be that big, and it wouldn't keep us on the edge of our seat. So the bigger the villain, the bigger the pain, the bigger the problem, the more enthralled we are. So if we want to think of our pitch in terms of a hero and villain, we want to think of the problem, the need, the gap as the villain, and then our product, our invention, our patent as the hero, our hero's combat plan, and then the hero's next moves and why the audience will love the hero. Now, Brian, disclaimer, please do not go ahead and call that the villain and you're the hero when you're actually pitching. Not going to go over very well, believe me. But this is just kind of in a sense for us to kind of keep that in mind and remember how much pain we can solve. Now, there might be people out there shaking their heads saying, seriously, Brian brought this, she wrote a book and it's about the problem solution. That's so old. Yes, it's old. It's tens of thousands of years old. It's a long time. And like I said, there's a reason that it's sustained for so many years, because it works. So there are two different ways to deal with the villain. You can either do the stick and make them feel the pain, or hallelujah, oh my gosh, this is so exciting. What is this invention? How have I not seen it before? The carrot. So both can work. It just depends on your audience. Is it something that you need an Advil or a vitamin for?
Mm.
And then you want to take that and turn it into a story. So it can be your origin story, the way Eight Wits was, or it can be a story about something that happened in the world, something that happened to someone you love, something that happened on the news, something that you realized at that moment, I can come up with an idea to solve that. Now, Mark Twain said, never let the truth get in the way of a good story. So does it matter if it was a little old woman, or does it matter if it was a friend of a friend? It does not, as long as we're not lying about our numbers and the efficacy of our invention. Like that, we really don't want. I mean, we've had some very good storytellers do some very bad things behind the scenes. If we go to Theranos and SBF and FTX and a lot of these. So again, we want to just be careful with that. So this is a partial list of villains that I wrote back in 2009 after the last big financial crisis. These were the things that startups were working on. Everything from bad economy, to security vulnerabilities, declining loyalty. See, isn't it like it's like we're still dealing with these problems? The last three, the boredom, popularizing cultural trend, missing a great opportunity, those are the carrots. Those are like the exciting things that we look forward to. This list I made back in March 2020 when we were all getting into lockdown, and these were the villains that I could see would be emerging throughout, and we're still dealing with the fallout of logistics and digital health and edutech and remote work and money savings. So these are still things, and you want to find the urgency. You want to find what's really relevant now to your audience. I have a lot more to say, but I think we're going to go ahead and try to bring on our pitchers now and help.
Okay.
I know in the interest of time.
Let's do it. Let's do it. Let's get Rachel Cardis. She's got several inventions. I'm curious to hear what she wants to go into this evening. Rachel, thank you for joining us.
Thank you,
Hi,
Brian.
Rachel.
Great to
Hi,
meet you
Rachel.
tonight, Donna. And
Hi,
what I'll be
great to meet
pitching
you
tonight
too.
was one of my first inventions, and it's the tiny total long. And so without further ado, I'll go ahead and get started.
So 1 second, I just want to give you a couple guidelines. So
Yep.
Rachel, I'm going to go into Donna GPT mode. I'm going to listen.
Okay.
We're going to do like a short version, like 2 minutes, but I'm going to challenge you.
Okay.
Prepare to pitch, and you can go with a pitch you prepared. But if you'd like to try a story
Okay.
of the problem and how you encountered it and how it first came out, I
Sure.
would love to hear that. If not, go ahead and give the pitch, and then I'm going to pitch you back how I would tell this story.
And
You
by
know
the
what?
way,
Actually, like your
and-
Converse, I will go through how this came to be. As you
Love it.
pictured your two-year-olds in the making Legos and doing paintings, I was a busy mom and I had my second child, and I really did not like lugging. I was a tomboy mom. I did not like lugging the heavy diaper bag everywhere. We go to Disneyland, we go on flight travels. It just was really cumbersome to travel, and my husband hated the diaper bag. And so I can kind of mix this up. So I invented the tiny total long hands-free diaper bag, and it's really 2 steps to freedom. So here's the tiny tote. You can see this in the front and the back. What you do, you can hold up the 2 diapers and a reloadable baby wipe holder. So you load it, and step 2 is you attach, and you're on your way to freedom. It makes it great to travel with kids. You can attach it to car seat handles. You can attach it to a shopping cart handle. If you're traveling in the airport, you can put it right on the suitcase handle and go to the bathroom and do trips. And my favorite feature and my husband's favorite feature here is you can see it folds up and fits in dad's back pocket. So we have lots of gender neutral patterns that dads love, that they get involved, and it's very discreet. So when you go to Disneyland or you go to sporting venues, it's able for dads to go between rides and go to the Major League Baseball games without lugging that bag. So, yep.
Fabulous.
So I hope I
Fabulous.
got that under 2 minutes, Brian.
You did great, and you did great. And I'm going to tweak the story.
sure.
for you. So let's
absolutely.
think for a second like somebody who would be listening on the other side, either as a licensee or to grant you a patent, or as a buyer that would potentially put this in the stores. Many of them will not be women, and many of them will not be parents. So we have to remember, what we know as a mom that's so obvious to us is not necessarily obvious. So first of all, like, what the heck is a diaper bag? Why do we, need it? So what I would do if I were you, I would coming in, I would bring an actual diaper bag stuffed with things, because we all know diaper bags don't just contain diapers, right? It's got everything in it. I mean, it's snacks and
it's heavy.
pacifiers. So and it's heavy. Come in and say, hi, everyone. I'd like you to meet the diaper bag. If you don't have kids and you're not a mom, you may not know this, but this is not just filled with diapers. It's wipes and it's bags and it's shelter for a nuclear reactor going off, and it's everything that we could possibly need.
Yes.
And it's heavy and it's cumbersome, but we just want to make sure that we aren't without something. The thing is, and then there's this little thing that fits in that has the diapers, but it's just a little foldable thing. It's nothing that can attach. So we're stuck schlepping these things now. And then I would bring in some numbers. Did you know that there are over 58 million parents today and dads, and this back it up with some numbers. This is why we've created the ultimate lightweight diaper. What was the name of it?
Hands-free.
Hands-free
tote.
Hands-free tote. And then you show the model, and now but I would also show how much can go into it, because it looks so small. It's deceptively small and light, but look, it can fit 6 diapers and a pack of wipes and a little folding thing and this, and it fits onto anything, and then it folds up, and then that was great.
Okay.
But get into their head more. Okay. You want to see the nod. You want to see, like Brian was nodding. You want to see somebody saying, "Oh, yeah, I'm feeling that. Oh, that must be annoying," and get them more into it.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Good luck.
Should we give her one more shot to pitch you again? Let's see what she did.
Let's see. You want to try it again?
Rachel, on the spot. And by the way,
I got this heavy diaper bag, and I've been lugging it for 15 minutes, and my shoulder hurts. So this is a true diaper bag, and it's very cumbersome to travel with. And so if you're coming into traveling with kids, you're going to the airport, you're going to a soccer game, you're going to the shopping cart, you're doing any of those trips, we have a hands-free diaper bag that will provide you freedom. So like I said, it's 2 steps and 20 seconds to freedom. I would go through, show them how I would load everything up. I tell them how many parents there are in the world that would like to purchase this, and the travel market. The travel market's a big one. And then I would show them all the places it can attach. And then I would leave them with how easy it is to transcend the patterns. Disney, female, male, sports. I mean, it's got a wide market.
Personalization. We can brand it with your sports team, or we can, and also later you're going to want to also talk about, the affordability of it and the potential revenues, because investors would be asking you about that. Great. Thank you, Rachel. All right.
Congrats. Good luck. And by the way, I've been trying to say nobody's been prepped beforehand. This is the first time that they're meeting. But you know what, Rachel? The second time that you did that, I actually listened to you tell me a story, and I started to picture in my brain the experiences that I had from 21 years and 20 years ago when I had to schlep that diaper bag.
Yeah.
But I appreciate that, and hopefully you pick something up here, Rachel. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Donna.
Okay, who's the next victim? Volunteer.
All right, who is next?
How are you?
Good. How are you?
So my name is Chris Foley, and I'm a florist, event designer. And what I have been in the business for quite a long time. And the biggest hiccup we find in this industry, and to help my fellow florists, is when we have wedding and events. There's a lot of breakage and damage in transporting our large centerpieces. So I just want to show you my product first. This is it. This holds the dish for our flowers, and this also holds flowers on these circles here. This has and also what's great about this, it's stackable.
Legos. It's Legos.
Exactly it. So my story is big events. We have 4 events going on. Couple of dozen centerpieces in each. We're in the refrigerators, right? And we have to do rotation. And the biggest hiccup we find is that we were breaking stems and breaking flowers and bruising them. And to save on cost on flowers, we had to raise them. We had to put them on buckets, and then we had to transfer them into the truck. So there's a lot of waste and energy and time involved. So this is why I feel in my industry it's time to, step up and caddy up with this product that I call Caddy Up Solutions. It's a lot about, in our industry, it's about load, leave, and arrive, about the timing when we have to get someplace, and there's so much time and energy that gets involved in getting the product there and looking as pristine as it should. And this is why this product, I feel, is such a essential part of my business and for others that are in this business.
Amazing. So I love the story, and I love the way you told it, and you also credentialed yourself as someone who's been in the business for a long time. I would love, like, if I could imagine you coming in and bringing in a floral arrangement first,
Putting you on the floor.
putting it on the floor and saying, I'm a florist. To me, this is heartache. People pay a lot of money for floral arrangements for their weddings, their bar mitzvahs, their funerals. And unfortunately, things happen in transport, and this is what ends up. So we, of course, are not going to charge them for bruised flowers, which we end up losing on. And as it is, the margins are so thin today in the floral business, and flowers are so scarce that we can't afford to eat into it. And not everybody has a fancy schmancy transport van with all kinds of different ways to set it up. That's why we created Caddy Up. Caddy Up is a simple, inexpensive piece of plastic with a patented shape, which doubles as a plate holder for a big arrangement, or 5 smaller arrangements on the other side. They're reusable, they're easy to transport, they're light, and and then you go into those, and it can fit into any trunk, standard trunk, and dancing, and then actually demo it and show how it's almost like a QVC. And what works about QVC is that we see the way it works, and we see someone trying it out.
Right. Okay.
This is fun. It's like being on Shark Tank behind the scenes. Like, really cool.
Well, I think you're great that you shared about the need, the solution, the business data, and the future vision. And that, I think, is what the need is in the industry. This is the solution for the industry, and I have the business and the data.
Back it up. And then the vision for the future, I could see as you were holding that, I'm like, I wonder if that could be made into different shapes for catering or for other delicate deliveries. Even, Amazon, thinking how if they have fragile things, how it fits in. Post office, like it could be molded in many different ways. You could really capture the market.
Well, it has actually eight different features on it that I could always get into. But when we make all bouquets and so forth for weddings and events, we color code, and that goes into those sections. So you're not thinking, oh, I have to get all the flowers. The Smith wedding, it's marked. It goes in the refrigerator. It's neat. It's organized. There's no time of wasting. So
you can even have like little labels on it, so it makes it easier. Yeah, wonderful. Love it.
Okay.
You know what? Thank you, Chris. For me, when you first pitched it, obviously I would love to see a bouquet, and you held it up straight up instead of the way that you would use it.
Correct.
So and you're talking to people in your industry, like many of the audience. We don't know what goes on behind in a florist area. So Donna, you were saying, put it on the floor, pick it up, show a couple of those flowers that ended up on the floor. Does this happen to you? I know it happens to many florists, because this is why I came up with it, introducing Caddy Up. And then you start going into what the purpose of it is. And not only did you make it for the multiple dishes on top to hold the bouquets, but look at this. I also utilized the space. I flipped it over, and now you can use it for vases or vases, whatever you want to call it.
Right.
Right. And but Don, I think what you were saying is really important, like telling the story and guiding them through in their head of having and sharing the experience that you constantly have, Chris, and they, I'm sure, had, right?
Well, anybody in my industry, especially how flowers have so much increased, and the type of flowers that I buy, like, I buy by variety, not just by color, and that's where prices fluctuate. So when I plan to go in, I plan to do a whole video, sum it up, show it how it's used, do a whole staging of it. And when I have a one-on-one, I plan to go in there just as what you just said. I'm just going to come in there with a big piece and put it on the table, and they're going to see the water's all over. You're breaking the flowers, and you want to solve this problem. It's about saving $67 an hour when you have to have someone as a designer.
There's a number that we can get behind.
Right.
That's what we want. Now, we didn't go on my presentation, but one of the things I talk about in the book is also, okay, you want to back up your story of the pain with actual tangible numbers.
Right.
Thank
I
you
do
so much.
100%, because people want to see value in there.
Absolutely.
How many times, if you do 2
Great
weddings
info.
a week, 3 days in a weekend, multiply it, it costs you 87 cents. You do the math, you do the figuring, tell me what you come up with. So, okay.
Thank you
Good
so
luck,
much.
Chris.
Thank you. Appreciate your time and effort.
Thank you.
for being here.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I see Rachel still in, and I know that just last Friday, Rachel, I'm putting you back on the spot. You had a chance to actually pitch investors, right?
Yes, I
So
did. I
what
have a
was your
different
experience
technology.
like?
Oh, sorry.
No, what do you
Absolutely.
think, if there's any questions that you want to have? Because look, Rachel, you're very involved with invention and pitching, and you're working on another major project. So anything you'd like to ask Donna also that you think the audience would appreciate?
Yeah, I do. Sometimes you're pitching your idea and you don't have that physical product because I'm pitching a technology that has a lot of investment at a pre-seed level. So if you could give some suggestions, not just to myself, but I heard other technology ventures on the call tonight. When you just have an idea and you're trying to, shape the vision, and you might have a few drawings and some schematics to show them what the end products will and look like and how things interrelate, but how different it is when you don't actually physically have that product, and what you can do to kind of help visualize what the end goal is going to be. And especially when you're trying to get investment and things have lots of phases before you can get to that hard product.
Yeah. Well, I do work mainly with startups that are technological startups. Most
Okay.
of them don't have a physical product. So that's the perfect question.
Okay.
So what I suggest, and I talk about in the book, creating a demo. If you don't have an actual product, if you don't have an actual mock-up or a video that you can show, or even screenshots of something, you want to tell a story. I call it a day in the life story. So let's say you didn't have the diaper bag. I'm glad you did. But I mean, first of all, it could be a mock-up, but by showing what we have today and then showing by scale, even in an image of how big it would be, and then just kind of describing it. So take us on a journey in the life of a busy mom, or in the life of a busy florist, or whoever it is, and say, now imagine that you had this. And then people, like Brian said, are very good at imagining. So even if you have a basic drawing, a basic sketch, something, but you can talk them through it, that's really going to help.
Yeah. Thank you for
Thank
that.
you so much. Thank you, Donna. All right. Thank you again, Rachel. We'll keep in touch for sure. All right, Donna. So what do you think? You want to get back to the
Do we have time? You
presentation?
let me know.
We have, let's do another 5 more minutes or so. Let's kind of wrap it up. So
Okay.
really,
So this is a
your
good one
points
for
are
y'all.
big.
I'm going to give this and we can end with this. And this is your elevator pitch. So
Great.
I'm sure that you have a lot of opportunities, like your little field trip you took last week to the PTS office, that you had, like, okay, everybody has a minute or 2 minutes to introduce themselves. And then what do we start to do? We only have a minute. We better talk as much as we can about the product, right? Wrong. When we use the problem story, we are not touching just on their head. We're touching their heart and their gut too. So even if you only have a minute or a 20-second, which I call a handshake pitch or an elbow bump pitch, where, after COVID, or a split second, an eye blink pitch, you don't want to let go of the problem, the need. So keep the structure of the problem solution and a little bit about the business. Just instead of cutting it off at the head, shrink it down kind of like you would with a picture that you want to fit onto a slide. So just keep that, turn your story shorter. Instead of going into the whole eat with story, it'd be something like, have you ever traveled overseas to a place you didn't read the language? Yeah. And did you ever feel like you were a tourist that didn't get to actually experience culture? Yeah. Well, we have now brought a slice of life, literally, and a taste of what it is to be a local, and then bring and eat with. So really, you can shave it down, but don't give up the story. It is so important.
Absolutely. And in your book, Donna, sticking to my story,
Mm-hmm.
as you get towards the end, what I really appreciated was the questions.
Mm-hmm.
You really lay out the questions for us.
Mm-hmm.
And when I did that, I
The
actually,
questions, tell them which questions, who's
well,
what.
it's questions about risk, questions about your intellectual
It's the
property, tricky
investor
questions.
questions, what they would be asking you. So I've done a lot of homework for you. I've laid out over 100 questions that are categorized that your other side are thinking that you should be able to answer.
Yeah. And just going through those, I felt good about preparing myself.
Excellent. That's
So
great.
thank you.
That's great.
Thank
I'm
you
glad to
very
hear
much.
it. And in the audio recording, when I was recording, I was like reading this whole list of questions. It was fun trying to keep each one different.
Great. So Donna, let's get some final words of wisdom from you. So there's inventors and entrepreneurs, startups. We're at all
I'm going to
different
do a little
stages of, yep,
skip.
we're at all different stages of our idea,
Yeah.
business ideas. What are some final words of wisdom for us to keep us moving forward?
I think this is a pretty good one. It's not my own. Stuart Butterfield, the CEO of Slack, which you all might not use it because it's a very enterprise tool, but it's a business chat where different teams can collaborate and communicate together. It's a very big Silicon Valley company. And he was interviewed and he said, if there's one piece of advice I could go back to give to my younger self, it's concentrate on the storytelling part, on convincing people. If you can't do that, it doesn't matter how good the product is. You may have the next amazing invention, but it's going to stay sitting on a shelf if you can't persuade people to do it. Story stick, make sure that yours stick. Please keep in touch, read the book. My lofty goal is to get this in the hand of every inventor and every innovator and every entrepreneur in the world. So spread the word, leave a review, let's get people's stories really shining.
Thank you so much, Donna. Thank you for your time and for your story to us and for us to tell our story to others. Thank you very much.
My
Thank you again,
pleasure.
Donna. We'll keep
Thanks
in
for
touch
having me.
and we'll keep in touch as well on LinkedIn.
For sure.
Thank you again. All right, another National Inventor Club meeting. We appreciate everybody joining us this evening. Thank you for the likes, for the follows. Thank you for all the amazing comments. And Donna Griffith from Sticking to My Story, Janet Garngola from U.S. Patent and Trademark Office, making the U.S. PTO National Inventor Club Inventor Experience Day happen. Thank you so much, Janet. I think you can also, you have the link if you want to join us in the back room. That would be great on the Zoom after meeting link. So thank you, everybody. We will see you soon. And from National Inventor Club, we are inspiring innovators to fulfill their dreams. Till next time, thank you.